Shalom. Thank you all for joining us for Children Light Bible Study. We will go ahead and begin with our prayer. Everyone, bow your heads. Lord Yeshaya, you are wonderful. You are, yes, magnificent. You are amazing. We love you. We appreciate all you do for us, even the things that we don't know that you do for us. We thank you for helping us so that way we can be with you in the New Jerusalem and not go to the lake of fire. Amen. Amen. You feel that? Oh, praise the Lord. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the Lord's Prayer in ancient Hebrew, and we're going to sing it together. You guys ready?
Yes. Yes.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Abanawa Shabbat Shemayim Kodash Haya Shamka Ahaya Malak Waska Taba'a Ratizawa Kahaya Asha Baharatizawa Kuwan Haya Bashamayim Nathanawa Lahom Kayawa Wasalak Nawa Kawalak Nawa Kasalak Nawa Kawalak Nawa Wala the body Nawa Abanawa Shabbat Shemayim Kodash Haya Shamka Ahaya Malak Waka Zawa Ratizawa Kahaya Asha Baharatiza Kuwa Haya Bashamayim Nathanawa Lahom Kayawa Wasalak Nawa Kawalak Nawa Kasalak Nawa Kawalak Nawa Wala the body Nawa Yisrael Wanabo Awushai Nawa Ma'an
You want it, girl.
Good job, everyone. All right. Now we have the Lord's Prayer in English. All right. Micah, go ahead and lead us.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
All right. Now we have,
The Creole.
yes, the Credo, which is in, let's say it together.
Chapter 6, verse 4.
All right. Shemaya
Yasharala Ahaya,
Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Eka. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shemaya Sharala Ahaya. Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Eka. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shemaya Sharala Ahaya. Israel. The Lord our God is one Lord. All right. All right.
Like that one hill.
All right. Now we have the 10 Commandments, and where are they found, everyone? That's the fruit of the Spirit. We'll get there in a few moments. But yes, Exodus chapter 20. All right. What's the first commandment, everyone? What's the second commandment?
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
We're not doing that.
That's all.
We're not doing that. Focus. What's the third commandment?
Thou shalt not take my name, O Lord God, in vain.
Let's try that one again. Y'all know this one.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord God in vain.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Good. What's the fourth commandment?
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
What's the fifth commandment?
Honor thy father and thy mother, and thy days shall be long upon the land.
All right. What's the sixth commandment?
Thou shalt not kill.
Seventh commandment?
Thou shalt not lie.
We're gonna do it. The eighth commandment?
Thou shalt not steal.
The ninth commandment?
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
And the 10th commandment?
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house.
All right. Now we have the fruit of the Spirit, which is found where?
The legends of the Bible.
All right. Perfect. Let's go ahead and say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Our Father, which
All right. All right. Go ahead and lead us in the fruit of the Spirit. Ready? Not you. You're not a liar. Ready? The
the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness,
and temperance. Against such there is no law. All right. Next we have not the colors, not the number. Yes, the Hebrew alphabet. Zion, go ahead and lead us in the alphabet. All right, now we have our numbers 1 through 30. All right. Okay. Go ahead and lead us without 1 through 30.
2 Shemaiah, 3 Shalasha, 4 Avarah, 5 Kamasha, 6 Shasha, 7 Shabbat,
That's your
8
everyone.
Shamalana, 9 Deshaiah, 10 Ashar, 11 Akara, 12
Shemaiah
Shemaiah,
Ishar, 13 Salasha Ishar, 14 Arabah Ihat Ishar, 15 Kamasha Ishar.
17 Shabbat, 18 Shemaiah, 19 Deshaiah, 20 Shabbat,
21 Asharayam Akkad, 22 Asharayam Shanayam,
23 Asharayam,
Shalasha, 24 Asharayam Arabah Ihat, 25 Asharayam Kamasha, 26 Asharayam Shasha, 27 Asharayam Shabbat
28 Asharayam,
Shamalana, 29
Asharayam,
Sha'ihah,
30 Shalashaya!
All right, next. No, stop. All right, next we have the colors. Everyone's favorite thing, apparently. All right. Elia, you want to tell us the color?
A color that they can. Hurry up.
He said cold.
Say green.
That's good.
Say it. Green.
All right. This side.
I think it's green. He said it.
What's it in Hebrew?
Oh.
Look at you.
All right.
Cute.
Micah,
Pink forever.
Oriah.
Purple yellow.
All right. Zion.
Pink.
Peter.
Pink forever.
All right. Benam.
Come on, Michael. Come on.
Okay. What else? Thank you.
White cacao.
Neve.
Blue cacao.
All right. Nasai, you want to try another color?
Red.
Okay. What color? You said red.
Yeah.
He said blue.
Blue. Okay.
And green. Oh.
What he said?
He said green.
All right. Elia, you want to do another color?
Green.
Purple.
No, I want to purple.
All right. Micah.
Turn around.
White.
Someone said.
You already said purple, right? Turn around.
Yellow. Yellow up.
Oriah.
I will choose green. Blue. Stop.
Someone said blue.
I want green.
Someone said brown.
Black.
Okay. What's black? You said it, but then you started singing.
It's a color. Color.
Thank you. Zion.
They go to the street. Stop.
Red.
You could say red.
Yeah, you can say red. So now?
Gray. A power.
Mm.
Someone
Someone say that?
Mhm.
Okay.
big boss.
All right. Are there any other colors?
Those ones say yellow.
You said yellow.
One say orange.
What's orange, Neve? All right.
One black and red.
You said those.
Yeah, orange was the last one.
What about white?
What's white? You said it, but go ahead, tell me.
White. The back.
All right.
She said it's white. Wait.
All right. Now, what do we have next?
The books of the Bible.
Yes, the books of the Bible. Amaris, go ahead and lead us.
Genesis, Job, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, First Samuel, Second Samuel, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, Psalms, Proverbs, Song of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, First Kings, Second Kings, Ruth, Joel, Jonah, Amos, Hosea, Isaiah, Micah, Nehemiah, Zephaniah, Habakkuk, Jeremiah, Lamentations,
Daniel, Ezekiel, Ezra, chapter 1 through 6, Obadiah, Haggai, Zechariah, Ezra, chapter 7 through 10, Esther, Nehemiah, Malachi. All right, let's focus. Let's bring it back. Yes, we are. All right. What do we have now? Israel. All right. You guys ready? All right.
Simeon.
Oh, sorry.
You're not the teacher. Oh, I thought you were showing me something different. Oh, still listen to the teacher.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Lawai, Judah, Zebulon, Issachar, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, Ephraim, Benjamin.
Now the shape.
What do we have next?
Shapes.
You sure?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh boy.
all right. So we are going to have you guys name some shapes to us in English and in ancient Hebrew, and we're going to listen and stop trying to be teachers.
Whoa.
We're going to stop. Nasab, what shape do you want?
Well,
Brown. Okay. Brown what? Oh. Okay. Oh.
I don't know.
He's so.
Say loud.
Thank you. Aliyah.
The sheep.
Amaya says it. He's not listening.
Aliyah.
Maya.
Say circle. Circle.
What's up?
Circle. Cog. Is that him or
I don't know. Oh, okay.
More.
All right. Sana,
Oh,
Amaris. Okay. Neve.
Star, Paula,
Okay. Micah.
Hurt, Love.
Okay. Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I thought you said Sagala ago.
That was him.
Okay. All right. Orion. Okay. You need to be on this. I'm not saying your- All right. Zion. She's so
You wrong for that. No, this is right.
All right. Before we get started with this one more time, let's make sure we are staying in our place as children. We are not teachers, and we are being obedient and listening. Yeshua is watching. Y'all know better.
Star.
Call.
Heart.
La.
Oval.
Cigar.
Circle.
Car.
Rectangle. Rectangle.
Who?
Malaban.
Malaban.
Square. No, square. Rabah. Triangle. Star.
Children,
Kawa.
everybody should be saying it at the same time, loud and clear.
Kawa.
Oh, wait, hold on. We're not just gonna keep saying it. Star.
Kawa.
Heart.
La.
Oval.
Sagalaga.
Circle.
Kawa.
Rectangle.
Malaban.
Square. Triangle.
Good. Much better.
Yay! That's
No. That was not magnificent. All right. Everyone, what book are we in?
Nehemiah.
All right. Everyone, go ahead and turn to the book of Nehemiah.
What's in your Bible? Stay on Nehemiah. Do not turn the page. Stay on Nehemiah. Do not turn.
So Nehemiah is pronounced Nehemiah.
Everyone.
After he said Nehemiah. Nehemiah. Nehamiah. How many chapters does Nehemiah have?
3.
More than
Let's see
3.
how many chapters Nehemiah has.
More than 2.
5, 4.
More than 5. Look at your Bibles.
Keep going.
13.
13. Can someone guess how many verses they think is in Nehemiah?
400.
Ooh, that's very close.
500.
Too high. 500 is too high. 400 is really close though.
402.
Close.
403.
Close.
404.
Close.
405.
Close.
406.
406 verses. You always got that one person in class. By number. All right, so Nehemiah used to be a cupbearer for the king. He bared the cup of the king.
So let's pretend Amanda was the king. I would be right here with the cup.
What? She's not a
Like that. So it was different vows for happened.
It's a little loud. And he was the cupbearer for the king, and the king was Artaxerxes the first. And so Nehemiah eventually was appointed governor in Judah with the authority to rebuild the wall. Do we remember talking about the wall being rebuilt?
Yeah.
Remember that. So his method, we learned how the other two people who were starting to build, what were their names?
The name was okay.
Who started it?
Zerubbabel.
And then
Israel?
no.
Was it Nehemiah?
No. Nehemiah was Ezra. And then Nehemiah, remember?
Yeah.
So Nehemiah, what he did was he got together a lot of people to do the work of rebuilding the wall. And he decided to rebuild the wall in sections. That's how he decided to go about it.
That when strangers came.
We'll get to that.
So he put the wall in sections. So you say that Benah and Amaris have to build this part of the wall. And then Micah and Ariah have to build the middle section. And then Zion and Neve have to build the last section. So that's how he decided to do it. And who wants to guess how many days did it take him?
Was it 13? 13?
More than that.
13, 14?
More than-
15.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, I thought it was the
Yeah.
17,
more than 17.
18, 19, 20, 100.
1921.
All right, it was 52 days. How many days?
52.
52. But just like the other people, we're gonna have some questions about this later, so pay attention. Just like Zerubbabel and Ezra came against some problems building the wall, temple, sorry. Got me here. Nehemiah faced a lot of problems. People wanted to do bad things to him, and we're going to learn what they wanted to do to him. Okay?
Yes.
So remember, we remember when Ezra came out of captivity and went back to Jerusalem, right? 14 years after Ezra went back to Jerusalem, then Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem. How many groups were taken?
3.
3. So not much is known about Nehemiah's childhood, his youth, or there's not too much known about his family background, except that his father's name is Hakala. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Right? Nehemiah's father's name, Hakala? Hakaliah? Hakaliah.
Yeah.
And his brother, Hanani. And Hanani. And they believe that it was possible that his great-grandparents were taken into captivity when Jerusalem fell to the Babylonians. And they believed that Nehemiah could have been born in Persia. He could have been born where?
In Persia.
And his ministry lasted for 12 years. So I got a question for you. Do you think that he was a major prophet or a minor prophet?
Major.
Or is this a book about history?
History.
I want to hear from everyone. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's a book about history. Man, I thought I was going to get it with that one. I was excited. I should have. Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some things in the book of Nehemiah. Now, your Delata Amana already talked about the people who rebuilt the temple, right? When they were returning back to Jerusalem.
Yes.
All right. Let's see if y'all was listening.
Yes.
Who was the first group to go back? Who led the first group? Zerubbabel. Who led the second group? Everyone.
Ezra.
Who's leading the third group back? Nehemiah. Yes. So Nehemiah is going to be bringing this final group to return back to Jerusalem. And throughout the book of Nehemiah, we're going to see what was going on in Jerusalem before he went back. How did he end up going back to Jerusalem? Did anybody ever think about that?
No.
What happened and why he decided to go back? Well, we'll find out.
Did they want to go back home?
We'll find out. We're also going to see what happened when Nehemiah was actually in Jerusalem and what happened while they were rebuilding the wall and the gates, and then what happened after it. We are going to listen and we are going to find out together. Are you guys ready?
Yeah! Yeah!
Nope.
Hey.
We're not yelling. We are not doing that. A simple yes, yay will be fine, but we ain't got to scream it, okay? Okay. This ain't Jericho. Okay. So, all right. So now let's go ahead and start off with what was going on with Jerusalem. So we are going to go to Nehemiah. Oh, thank you. We're going to go to Nehemiah, chapter Akkad, and we're going to read verses Akkad through Shalasha. So that's Nehemiah, chapter 1, verse 1 through 3. Like, what? Is everyone in Nehemiah, chapter 1, verse 1? Akkad? All right, let's go ahead and Shemai now.
Nehemiah, chapter Akkad, verse Akkad. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah. And it came to pass in the month Chislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace, that Hanani, one of my brethren, came, he and certain men of Judah, and I asked them concerning the Israelites that had escaped, which were left of the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said unto me, the remnant that are left of the captivity there in the province are in great affliction and reproach of the wall of Jerusalem. Also is broken down, and the gates thereof are burned with fire.
All right. So Nehemiah was having a conversation with his brother, and his brother told him some things about what was going on in Jerusalem. What happened?
The gates was burned.
The gates were destroyed with fire, and the walls. Mm-hmm. All right, so Nehemiah is hearing this news about what's going on in Jerusalem, and let's see what he did. Let's go ahead. We're going to stay in chapter 1, and we're going to read verse 4 through 5. So that's Nehemiah, chapter Akkad, verses Araba'ihah through Kamasha.
Nehemiah chapter Akkad, verse Araba'ihah. And it came to pass, when I heard these words, that I sat down and wept, and mourned certain days, and fasted, and prayed before the God of heaven, and said, I beseech thee, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible God, that keepeth covenant and mercy of them that love him, and observe his commandments.
Why you said terrible God? Oh,
Listen.
amen.
That's because that word doesn't really, it's like, it's with these words, there's different meanings to them when it comes to the scriptures. That word terrible, it's a good version, not like bad, terrible. It's a way of showing him honor.
Yeshua is so powerful that got it?
Does that make sense?
Okay, so the scripture. So he said, O Lord God of heaven, the great and terrible God. Do you think Yeshua is great?
Yes.
Can Yeshua do some mighty things? What about what he did in the Red Sea? What about the people who didn't cross, who tried to cross, the Egyptians?
It was good for us, but it was terrible for them, right? There was a terrible thing that happened that was good for us, but not good for the Egyptians. You understand? No.
Okay, we'll let your mom.
So if you go to the Strongs, the word terrible means to fear or to be afraid of or to have reverence or honor for. So it's just showing a sign of respect towards Yeshua, that he is to be feared and respected.
Well, if you don't make sense with you, we'll let your mother help you with that. All right. So Nehemiah, he heard what happened, and he went into prayer, and he fasted. All right, and let's see what else happened. Let's go ahead and read verse 11. We'll stay in chapter 1, Akkad, and read verse 11. And what's 11 in ancient Hebrew?
Nehemiah chapter Akkad, verse Akkad Ashar. O Lord, I beseech thee, let now thy ear be attentive to the prayer of thy servant, and to the prayer of thy servants, who desire to fear thy name and prosper. I pray thee,
thy servant this day, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man. For I was the king's cupbearer.
Who was the king's cupbearer?
Nehemiah.
All right, so he's praying to Yeshaya about what's going on. So let's see now what happened. All right, let's see. We're going to see now how he ended up going to Jerusalem. You should have an idea, but let's go ahead. We'll find out. We're going to go ahead to go to Nehemiah chapter Shanayim, and we're going to read verse Akkad through Shalasha. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 1 through 3.
Nehemiah chapter Shanayim, verse Akkad. And it came to pass in the month Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, that wine was before him, and I took up the wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, Why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid, and said unto the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad, when the city, the place of my fathers' sepulchres, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire?
All right, so Nehemiah was doing his job with the king, which was a what?
Fire.
No. Yes, cupbearer. So the king's sitting there, Nehemiah's sitting here, and he's just looking sad while he holding the king's cup. No, let's listen. We talked about that already. And then the king said, What's wrong? And then Nehemiah told him everything that was going on and why he was sad. All right. So now let's see what happened. We're going to read verse 5 through 6.
Verse Kamasha. And I said unto the king, If it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. And the king said unto me, The queen also sitting by him, For how long shall thy journey be? And when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I sent him a time.
All right. So now the king asked him what's wrong. He told the king what's wrong. And now he made his request to go where? Where did he ask to go? Everyone should be answering these questions.
Everyone, where did he ask to go?
All right. I got to be listening. So now we see how he got to go to Jerusalem, how the third group is going to return. And what did Nehemiah want to do when he got to Jerusalem? He wanted to do what?
Go back to Jerusalem.
He rebuilt
The temple.
the wall.
The gates.
No, the wall and the gates.
The wall and the gate.
All right, so now we see what happened and how he got to go to Jerusalem. So now let's see what happens now when Nehemiah is in Jerusalem. So we're going to stay in chapter 2. We're going to read verse 12 to 13. So Nehemiah, chapter Shanayim, verse Shanayim Ishar through Shalasha Ishar.
Verse Shanayim Ishar. And I arose in the night. I had I and some few men with me. Neither told I any man what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. And I went out by night by the gate of the valley, even before the dragon well, and to the dung court, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem. which were broken down, and the gates thereof were consumed with fire.
All right, so now he's in Jerusalem and he's looking around at the destruction of the wall and the gate. So he's kind of trying to see how the damage is, the condition of it, so that way he can get ready to start rebuilding it. All right. So now let's go ahead and skip down to verse 15 and 16, which is Kamasha Ishar and Shasha Ishar.
Verse Kamasha Ishar. Then when I up in the night by the brook, and viewed the wall, and turned back, and entered by the gate of the valley, and so returned. And the rulers knew not whither I went or what I did. Neither had I as yet told it to the Israelites, nor to the priests, nor to the nobles, nor to the rulers, nor to the rest that did the work.
So when he got up in the middle of the night, no one knew what he was doing. So Yeshaya told him to do something, and he went to do it, and no one knew. All right, so now he's... We're not changing the topic. We're going to stay on subject, okay? All right. So now that they have looked at the temple, now that he's looked at the temple, let's see what happens now. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to read. Verse 17 and 18.
How do you say 17 in Hebrew?
You all know this.
Girl, you almost
Go
said it.
ahead.
She said, Mama.
Shabbat Ishar.
Yes. So verse Shabbat Ishar. Then said I unto them, Ye see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Come and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more a reproach. Then I told them of the hand of my God, which was good upon me, as also the king's word that he had spoken unto me. And they said, Let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for this good work.
All right. So now he looked at the wall, he saw the damage to it, and now they have a plan to rebuild the wall. So kind of like what Udawada was saying earlier, he gave everyone jobs to do. So he would have said, you focus on this and so forth. So that way everyone knew what they had to work on and understood their assignment. So that way there was no confusion and there was order. All right. So now there's something that we didn't talk about yet. We have this plan. They're going to rebuild the wall. But just like when they were rebuilding the temple, did they run into some issues? Mm-hmm. So we're going to see. And we'll briefly talk about what happened with the temple and the issues. But before we do that, let's see what happened. After Nehemiah got the people together, we're going to rebuild this wall. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this. Let's see what happened in verse 19 and 20. So we are in the Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 19 and 20. Oh, that's a good one. Sorry. Nehemiah chapter Shanayim, verse the Ishar through the Sharayim.
Verse the Ishar. But when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they laughed us to scorn and despised us, and said, What is this thing that ye do? Will ye rebel against the king? Then answered I them, and said unto them, The God of heaven will prosper us, Therefore we, his servants, will arise and build. But ye have no portion, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem.
So they started laughing at them and mocking them. But Nehemiah said in verse 20 that they will have no portion. And okay, I heard you. They will have no portion, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem. And that Yeshua will prosper them. So even though they're laughing and mocking, Yeshua is with them and the wall will get rebuilt. And we're going to see that, okay?
Okay.
All right. So like I said earlier, the assignments were given. So everyone knew what their job was and what to work on. As they were rebuilding, these people are trying to stop them. And we all said that sounded familiar. Remember? Was Zerubbabel? They wrote letters to get them to stop rebuilding the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like the same thing.
Well, it's close to it. It's similar. There's nothing new under the sun. What it says. So repeats itself. So let's go ahead and we are going to skip over to chapter 4, verse 1. So that's Nehemiah, chapter Araba'iham, verse Akkad. Is everyone in chapter 4, verse 1? Yes, Akan? Thank you. All right.
Nehemiah chapter Araba'ah, verse Akkad. But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth, and took great indignation, and mocked the Israelites.
So he was upset that they were doing that work, that they were building that wall. They were so upset.
He wanted to do what he wanted.
She's right. Yes.
He wanted them to do his work.
No, he didn't want them to do it at all.
And they came to mock him.
It was just some evil on them. They didn't want to see the wall being rebuilt.
If you're doing something and someone mocks you, it's gonna discourage you to do it, right? You're not gonna want to do it no more because you're like, well, they're making fun of me, they're mocking me.
I'll still do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I did not call you.
Well, you sure you heard that, so
No.
make sure you do it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and skip down to verse 8 and 9. So we're still in Nehemiah chapter 4, and now we're going to read verse 8 and 9. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 8 through 9.
Nehemiah chapter Araba'ah, verse Shemawana. And conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God and set a watch against them day and night because of them.
All right, so because these people were trying to stop what they were doing, they had to set up watch. So they had to set up people to watch the walls to make sure. So they had to set up watch. So that way they can make sure that no one tried to sneak in and try to destroy what they were doing, try to stop them from rebuilding the wall or the gate.
So how would they watch the game?
Well, we're going to find out. All right, but before we do, because the people were seeing that these people were trying to stop them, Nehemiah wanted to make sure they didn't get discouraged and that they kept on doing the work. So let's go ahead and see that. We're going to see in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 13 to 14. So that's Nehemiah chapter Araba'ihah, verse Shalasha Ishar through Araba'ihah Ishar.
Nehemiah chapter Araba'ihah, verse Shalasha Ishar. Therefore set I in the lower places behind the wall and on the higher places, I even set the people after their families, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses.
All right, so but now that should answer your question in verse 13. He set them up with swords and spears and bows, so they had weapons. And then he also encouraged them, telling them not to be afraid.
It says that he's the. It says, remember the Lord which is great and terrible, fight for you, for your brethren, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your households, which means he's going to protect them.
But wait, there's more. You guys want to see something else?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and read in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 16 and 17. So Nehemiah chapter Araba'ihah, verse Shasha Ishar through Shaba'ihah Ishar.
Verse Shasha Ishar. And it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work, and the other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, and the rulers were behind all the house of Judah. They which builded it on the wall, and they that bear burdens, with those that laid it, every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon.
So while the people were even rebuilding the wall, they had to use the tool to rebuild the wall in one hand and hold the weapon in the other hand. Could y'all do that?
Yeah.
You couldn't?
I need to put that me.
All right, everyone hold up one hand. Let's say this is your hand for the tool. This is your other hand right here. Hold your other hand up for your weapon. Hold it. So how would you guys do that?
I would just put the weapon.
And what about the
weapon
tool?
and I'm gonna build
You
it.
gotta keep doing this, and you gotta shake somebody. You never know.
So you have your sword over here, and then paint over here. See if you can do it. Now when somebody comes to fight, how you gonna fight paint? Fight paint. Let me see you fighting paint at the same time.
That's your
He started tricking. He just dropped the tool.
Well, if you got it this house, what you gonna do?
The sock.
You gonna do this? All right. You never know when somebody might get you. You never know. You gotta be ready. Gotta be ready. All right. So that's what the people had to do. So they had to be watching. They had to be mindful. So that means they couldn't be off in la la land. They had to pay attention.
La la land.
That means not paying attention. So you couldn't be looking up, dozing off. You have to be paying attention. All right. So they made sure they got that wall rebuilt, though. Okay. Even though when there were people trying to stop them, they found a way to make sure that everyone still was able to finish their assignment. And that's how we have to be. All right. Okay. So, and then, so we talked about the people with the tool and the weapon in their hand, but did you know that Sanballat and the people, they even tried again after that? That they kept trying? Did y'all know that?
Yeah.
You knew?
No. Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right, so what did he do then?
Yeah.
That's wrong. Don't worry. Don't worry, we're going to go over what they did, all right?
They built the temple.
Let's find out.
Wow.
Don't worry.
We've been talking about temple for so long though.
I know, yeah. So we're going to go over to Nehemiah chapter Shasha. And we are going to read Shasha, verse Akkad, verse Shalasha.
No, mine was on 5.
Oh, so we have Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 1 through 3. Everyone ready to see what else they were doing?
Yeah!
Remember, we ain't got to do that. Yes.
Pay attention.
Nehemiah, chapter Shasha, verse Akkad. Now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem, the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had built the wall, and that there was no breach left therein, though at the time I had not set up the doors upon the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem said unto me, saying, Come, let us meet together, and someone of the villages in the plain of oh no.
Oh no.
But they thought to do me mischief. And I sent messengers unto them, saying, I am doing a great work, so that I cannot come down. Why should the work cease, whilst I leave it and come down to you?
So they couldn't stop them when they were trying to finish the wall. So now the wall is rebuilt and the gates, you have to put the doors on. So now they're like, well, the wall's up. We can't get there. So let's try something else. So then he thought, you know what? Let me lure him outside of the wall and the gate. And then it said he thought to do mischief to him. So there's no telling what he wanted to do. Maybe he was going to, beat him up. Maybe he was going to kill him. We don't know. But we know that he wanted to do mischief. He wanted to do evil to Nehemiah. So let's see what Nehemiah wasn't having it though. He knew that he had a plan to do something really bad. So that Nehemiah didn't fall for it. Yeah, he didn't fall for it. So all right, so once they realized that Nehemiah wasn't going to fall for that, they tried again by having someone give him a false message. But he knew that message was not true. So do you guys think the devil's going to keep trying and trying and trying?
Yeah.
And what we got to do? We got to what?
Fight them all.
Spiritually. Raise your hand. Yes.
We fight all of them.
We're not going to fight the people. We're going to fight spiritually.
All of them.
I just said spiritually. Let's listen. All right. So we talked about what happened, how Nehemiah got to Jerusalem, what happened when he was in Jerusalem. Now the wall has been rebuilt, the gates, it's all back, restored. But now we got to talk about what happened after the fact. So after all these things happened, you guys remember Ezra?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Guess what Ezra did, y'all? Huh?
No.
Let's find out. In chapter 8, in Nehemiah chapter 8, Nehemiah chapter 8, verse 1 through 2. So Nehemiah chapter Shema now verse Akkad through Shania. Let's see what he did.
Nehemiah chapter Shemauna verse Akkad. We're reading through what verse?
1 through 2.
And all the people gathered themselves together as one man into the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded to Israel. And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear with understanding upon the first day of the 7th month.
Yeah, that's a little bit further down. Yes. So he's reading the law to the people. Let's go ahead and stay and read verse 3. Nehemiah chapter Shemawana verse Shalasha.
Verse Shalasha. And he read therein before the street that was before the water gate, from the morning until midday, before the men and the women and those that could understand. And the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
So they heard the book of the law being read and they were attentive. What does attentive mean?
I don't know.
They listened. They were paying attention. They were listening to what the law said. They had to get back right with Yeshaya, so they had to make sure they understood the law, make sure they didn't break the law. Just like when your parents give you instructions, you should be attentive and listen to the instructions your parents give you. So that way you can do the instructions correctly. Think about it. If your parents were trying to give you instructions and you were talking over them while they're giving you instructions, are you being attentive? Are you listening?
No.
So you're not going to know what to do. They tell you to walk this way and make a right and you make a left and then something might happen. So they were being attentive, just like we all should be attentive. Okay? Alrighty. Let's go ahead and read verse 6. Verse Shasha. Verse 6.
Verse Shasha. And Ezra blessed the Lord, the great God, and all the people answered, Amah, Amah, with lifting up their hands, and they bowed their heads and worshiped the Lord with their faces to the ground.
All right, so they're in the hearing of the law, and Ezra blessed the people. And they all answered, Aman. All right, now we're going to fast forward a little bit. Nehemiah ended up leaving because remember, he gave the king a time frame of when he would return, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had to return back. Where was he returning back to? Who remembers?
Jerusalem.
No, not yet.
Persia.
Yes. Everyone say Persia.
Persia.
Yes. So now, he left for a little while, but he came back. But when he came back, he saw the people started falling off again. So he had to get them back together. So that way they can, yes, the people, they started not listening to the law. They heard the law, but a little while after that, when Nehemiah was gone, they started not listening. And they started doing some things. And we're going to see what they were doing. You didn't raise your hand. You didn't raise your hand. And let's listen. If you have a question, you have to raise your hand. Let's go ahead and read Nehemiah chapter Shalasha Ishar verse Arabaiha through Kamasha. So that's Nehemiah chapter 13 verse 4 through 5. So everyone should be in Nehemiah chapter 13. Turn to chapter 13. And we're going to see some of the things that was going on.
Nehemiah chapter Shalasha Ishar verse Araba I have.
Yes.
And before this, Eliashib, the priest, having the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God, was allied unto Tobiah. And he had prepared for him a great chamber, where aforetime they laid the meat offerings, the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithes of the corn, the new wine, and the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the offerings of the priests.
All right. So, doesn't that name Tobiah sound familiar? Who was Tobiah? You said.
One y'all got it.
Just copying Deacon Meadow.
It was Tobiah.
You're not gonna build this wall. You're not gonna build this gate.
No, not the king.
Look, y'all, they trying to rebuild the wall. Look at that. They're stupid. They're not gonna do that. They can't finish it.
Why did you rebel against the Lord and try to build this wall?
So, remember when they were trying to rebuild the temple? What happened? Okay, what happened when they were trying to rebuild the wall?
They start mocking them.
And
Calling them dumb.
they didn't call them dumb. I was trying to get y'all to remember. Yeah. I mean, with mocking, they probably just little things, but. So they mocked when they were trying to rebuild the wall and the gates. And weren't they angry and didn't they had to they were angry, Sanballat was angry, but we read a name in chapter 13, his name was Tobiah. Wasn't he with those people that were trying to stop them? And wasn't he mocking them also?
Yeah.
And now he's in the Lord's temple?
Ooh.
What? Oh, exactly. He said, what? No, not the same.
He said, what did the saying?
Oh, what did they Oh. So,
Oh, Lord.
when it came to doing the work in the temple, whose job was that to do? The
Levi.
Oh, yes, the Levites. That's a great answer. Yes,
Yeah.
the Levites.
That's what it's
But we got Tobiah in here doing stuff.
What?
Well, Tobiah wasn't really in there doing stuff, but the priest, he had a priest in there doing stuff for him. And he was doing evil.
He was allied to
Yeah. He was
Elisha.
yeah.
What did it say?
They wouldn't
Shouldn't
have
have been
let, they knew about Tobiah. They wouldn't have let him come into the temple, but he had somebody in there for him doing his dirty work.
Focus. Pay attention. So that was that going on. Let's see what else was going on.
Well, Tobiah was in there because he had a chamber. Or 7, that's what I thought that. It said he had a chamber made for him in the house of God.
Yeah, it did. Verse 7, it says that it understood of the evil that Elisha did for Tobiah.
Yeah.
He prepared a chamber for him. He didn't wasn't actually in the chamber.
He didn't know what it is?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
So let's go ahead and rewrite it one more time because we got to read verse 8 and 9 anyway. So,
Oh, okay.
so we're gonna go ahead and read verse 8 and 9. So we're still in chapter 13, and let's read verse 8 and 9. Verse 8 and 9.
Verse Shemawana. And it grieved me sore, therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber. Then I commanded, and they cleansed the chambers, and thither brought I again the vessels of the house of God with the meat offering and the frankincense.
So Nehemiah saw that, and he has to get them back right, get them back in order with Yeshaya. Let's see what else they were doing. Y'all not gonna believe this one. We're gonna read verse 15 and 16. Y'all ready?
Yes.
All right. You ready today?
Yes.
Micah, you ready?
Yes.
Araya?
Yes.
All right. Nasaf? Okay.
Yay.
Amaris? All right. But I'm,
Yep.
all right.
Verse,
Ryan? Sorry. You ready? 'Cause I want all y'all to answer this question.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
verse Kamasha Ashar. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and lading asses, as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem.
So everybody, y'all would say y'all was ready. So what were they doing?
Doing stuff on the Sabbath day and be on Sunday.
Okay. So everyone, what were they
They
doing?
was catching fishes, them some food.
What were they doing, everyone?
They had sticks and catch them fish and kill them.
Okay. Oh, all right.
And they were doing all this on the
Sabbath.
So they were breaking the Sabbath day.
Broken Sabbath.
All right. Calm down. So they were breaking the Sabbath, and Nehemiah saw what was going on. So he had to get them back right. So let's read verse 19.
verse Tasha Aisha. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants sent I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day.
All right. And really quickly, we're going to read verse 21. So we're going to stay in chapter 13. We're going to read verse 21.
Verse Asharayam Akkad. Then I testified against them, and said unto them, Why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
So Nehemiah had them to close up the wall right before the Sabbath, so that way no one could go in or out. And then he told the people that were coming outside the wall to sell to the Israelites on the Sabbath, if you come back here again, I'm going to lay hands on you.
That means beat them up.
He just said he was going to lay hands.
Fist.
He gonna handle his business.
All right? So after he told them he was going to lay hands on them, they didn't come back anymore on the Sabbath, so they understood.
They understood him. Shine.
So this is where Nehemiah ends. So he went back, he came back, and he started cleansing the place again, making sure they got back in order with Yeshaya and followed his laws. All right. So that is the book of Nehemiah. Next week we'll do the book of Malachi. So thank you all for joining us for Children of Life Bible Study. And please join us at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our main Shabbat lesson. Kwam Yashala.
The song.